Hello, and welcome to today's special webinar event, Accelerate Your Application Development and Quality with Deloitte and Micro Focus. Today's webinar is sponsored by Deloitte and Micro Focus and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech Media, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, there are a few things you should know about this webinar. First off, we want it to be a very informative event for you, so we encourage any and all questions in the questions box in our webinar control panel. We'll have a dedicated Q&A session toward the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in great detail some of the top questions that you ask. Now, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources. There's a Get Started with Micro Focus link. You can also find links to the Actual Tech Media Guerrilla Guide Book Club and a link to the Actual Tech Media Events Center. So I encourage you to check out those links and share them with your friends and colleagues. At the end of this webinar event, we'll be awarding a $300 Amazon gift card to one lucky attendee on the live event. The prize drawing is only for the live event, so if you're watching this webinar on demand, I'm sorry, the drawing has already occurred. The official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found at actualtechmedia.com. Scroll to the bottom and you'll find the prize terms and conditions link there. Finally, one of the best benefits of this event is the opportunity to ask a question of our expert presenters. To help encourage your questions, we have a special additional prize for you. That's another Amazon gift card, this one for $50 for the best question. At the end of the event, we'll look at all the questions, pick out the very best one, and contact that prize winner. And with that, let's get to today's great content. So it's an honor to introduce you to today's presenters. We're joined by Ali Rauf, Krishna Mitch Hall, all from Deloitte, and Jason Benfield from Micro Focus. And now, without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Ali to kick us off.
Hello and welcome to today's special event webinar. My name is Ali Rauf and I'm a quality engineering specialist leader at Deloitte. I focus on lowering the cost of quality for our clients across healthcare, telecom, consumer, and other industries by designing and implementing testing strategies for digital transformations. Today, we will talk about Deloitte's quality engineering services and how we collaborate with Micro Focus to deliver high quality but cost-efficient testing solutions for our customers. The first part of the session will cover some basic information about Deloitte, our established credentials as a global leader in helping our clients navigate complex business transformation challenges. I will also describe Deloitte's quality engineering services and offerings before Krishna and Mitch, who are my co-presenters today, describe how we partner with Micro Focus to leverage their strong technology portfolio to deliver tangible value to our clients. Deloitte is one of the largest professional services firms in the world, both in terms of revenue and employee strength. This past year, our global revenue stood at over 50. Switching gears, I would now like to jump into the meat of this presentation. Next, I'll talk about our quality engineering philosophy that drives our practice at Deloitte. The accelerating pace of competition between organizations necessitates building quick but robust solutions for our customers. These solutions need to be future ready, so these organizations can anticipate and respond to upcoming business challenges, which may stem from the need to be better than the competition or from changing customer needs and/or preferences. These solutions also need to be customer-centric, so they are relevant to the needs of the customers and entice the customers to return by providing an ever-engaging and improving customer experience, especially as compared to competitors. The solutions need to be resilient and adaptive to deal with risk during uncertain times, for example, during this pandemic that we face today, and how an organization's employees work. This could mean, for example, validating and ensuring continuity of core functions. Further, this also means adopting new technologies at the pace of change. Again, whether that's driven by competition or due to customer needs. And also do all of this cost efficiently, but also with greater accuracy. For example, by adopting automation and AI-based solutions. We know from various surveys that digital transformation is a top priority for many organizations today. And a large number of organizations are also concerned about privacy of their data and other cybersecurity issues. It's not surprising that many organizations spend 50% of software development effort in testing to make sure their products are built to meet the criteria that I just talked about, as well as at a reduced cost. Keeping in mind the needs of organizations and their challenges I just discussed, Deloitte's quality engineering practice is organized to deliver testing services that fulfill the needs and deal with these challenges. Starting at the middle of the slide, our practice is divided into three areas. First, advisory and transformation, where our practitioners provide testing strategy and advisory services, set up testing centers of excellence to provide testing services for the organization, improve the outcomes of testing through quality transformation, and enable testing in DevOps and CI/CD environments. Second, intelligent QE, which includes testing of custom development solutions, cloud technologies, next-gen testing, including AI ML capabilities, analytics and automation, as well as performance and scalability testing. And third, digital and enterprise QE, which focuses on package and pre-built solution testing, mobile and web testing, accessibility testing, as well as API and security testing. At the core of our comprehensive quality engineering services are highly skilled practitioners who serve clients in all industries across the globe. Deloitte provides these services via various delivery models based on our clients' needs. These delivery models range from fully managed to a hybrid Deloitte and client teams to small project-specific teams. In addition, we at Deloitte are powered by our alliance relationships. Being open comes naturally to us, and we have been more successful as a result of working with Micro Focus to deliver testing solutions. In today's complex business environment, winning involves seeing beyond our own walls and collaborating with the right team. We honestly believe that by combining the dynamic ecosystem and alliance relationships we have curated with our proven business acumen, we are able to bring our clients complete, scalable, bespoke solutions that can help them not only survive but thrive in a world of constant change. Let me pass the baton on to Krishna, who will talk about how we have collaborated with Micro Focus to deliver solutions to our customers.
Hello everyone, I'm Krishna, the Gala Specialist Leader in Deloitte Consulting Quality Engineering Practice. I'm focused on structuring and delivering multi-year quality engineering engagements across industries with extensive experience in leading and driving specialized testing initiatives for our clients around test automation and help them building testing center of excellence. Today, I would like to talk with you about our quality engineering capabilities along with our success stories. As part of advisory and transformation, we provide solutions to assess and transform our clients' QE organizations into efficient delivery organizations, providing core and flex capacity to bring down cost of delivery and improve quality driven by a robust set of KPIs. Our advisory and transformation experience ranges from performing test assessment all the way to setting up testing center of excellence with required test governance, test execution, test tools, test assets, etc. For example, at a large healthcare client, we delivered advisory and transformation services to solve several of their application development and maintenance challenges. Our client is a non-profit integrated healthcare network that is New York State's largest healthcare provider and private employer, with more than 76,000 employees covering over 830 hospitals and care centers, along with 3,800 physicians. The client faced several challenges in testing their suite of applications, which includes number one, lack of governance and demand management process to support test execution for validated and non-validated applications. Number two, fragmented accountability resulting in test coordination complexity and lack of alignment. Number three, lack of resources to adequate support testing methodology adoption. Number four, lack of resource availability or capacity due to compete enterprise initiatives. The Deloitte advisory and transformation team addressed these challenges with a multi-fold approach. A critical component of the approach was to provide consistent tools for test management, test automation, and performance testing. In collaboration with the client, we have chosen Micro Focus tools like Quality Center, UFT, and Performance Center because these tools not only industry standard leading tools, but also integrate with each other, providing seamless experience for the testing. The solution include number one, assess testing capability, identified opportunities to improve and define a prioritized roadmap to achieve the future state. Number two, establish testing center of excellence services for the enterprise and developed a standard testing methodology. Number three, enable centralized test data management activities and created a governance council to provide guidance and also plan and execute resource demand management. Number four, implemented test data generation request workflow to submit the test data generation request to automation team and implemented a robust test automation and performance services. The solution and the tools used to transform the functioning of testing organization, making it more efficient and cost effective. For example, we are able to achieve number one, 15% year-on-year savings using testing center of excellence across shores, including teams based in India, Mexico, and US. Enables 7 times increase in test coverage using intelligent automation with robotics. Delivered 80% faster cycle and uncovered 40K plus revenue leakage risk. As part of digital and enterprise QE, we provide our services across 7 different areas, right from mobile testing, package testing, and all the way to IoT testing. We have helped our clients with faster go-to-market by utilizing our package-specific reusable assets, accelerators, and techniques. For example, at a leading American exercise equipment and media company client, we delivered digital and enterprise QE services to help their testing on one of their digital transformation project, including major SAP design implementation for their overall business, finance, and supply chain, and now powered by Micro Focus SaaS Flex ADM solutions. The client was looking for support in testing their SAP implementation and implementing the best practices around package testing by accelerating their testing. The digital and enterprise QE team addressed these challenges with multi-fold approach. A critical component of the approach was to utilize the pre-built assets across test management, test automation, test reporting, and performance testing, specifically built for SAP. These assets were built in collaboration with Micro Focus. We choose Micro Focus tools like ALM, EFT, and Performance Center. The solution was built across multiple areas. Here are a couple of them. Number one, build overall test strategy for SAP implementation, including recommendation on testing coverage, test types to be performed, and the acceptance criteria. Number two, end-to-end test planning, test execution, and post-execution support following the Agile Scrum methodology. Number three, automating the regression suite to help in regression test ongoing releases. The solution and the tools help the client, making it more efficient and cost effective, not only for this project, but across other projects within the organization by using these assets. For example, we are able to achieve, number one, building testing center of excellence for the client based on Micro Focus ADM suites, improved time to value for SAP projects, quality and performance of applications for the client growing business, educated the client on using Micro Focus tools for their testing center of excellence and across other SAP projects. Now, let's talk about our intelligent QE services, which ranges across 17 different areas, right from intelligent automation testing, data migration, API, performance, test data management, to all the way to blockchain and crowd testing. Deloitte's automation first approach is enabled by robotics, AI, and analytics, with cognitive technologies pervading global markets. The future of testing is focused on autonomous testing with a combination of human and digital FTEs, leveraging robotics, AI, and machine learning. Deloitte Quality Engineering Services merge deep industry testing experience with next generation technologies to help deliver higher quality, cost efficient testing solutions. For example, at a leading retailer specialized in imports, home furnishing, and decor client, we delivered our intelligent QE services to help their complex e-commerce projects. The client has lacked the ability internally to thoroughly plan and test their e-commerce complex solutions. There were quality and stability challenges with the point of sale systems within its 1,000+ stores. The intelligent QA team addressed these challenges by building robust test strategy across different test phases and provided consistent tools for test management, test automation, and performance testing. Implemented automation first approach by automating the test cases along with performing performance engineering at the sprint level by using Micro Focus tools like ALM, EFT, and Performance Center. It helped in building comprehensive regression suite and find the performance issues early and able to fine-tune their application. The solution include around these areas. Number one, overall test strategy for e-commerce and point of sales, including recommendation on test coverage, testing types, to be performed and the acceptance criteria. End-to-end test planning, test execution, and post-execution support following the Agile Scrum methodologies. Localization testing on French stores, testing the client's promotion engine and self-service portal. Automating the regression suite to help in regression testing for ongoing releases. The solution and tools help to build a loyalty program in efficient and cost-effective manner. They also leverage the regression suite across other projects within the organization. For example, we are able to achieve, number one, more than 600,000 loyalty enrollments within first 20 days of loyalty program rollout with zero production issues. Number two, effectively utilized UFT and Performance Center for point of sale and e-commerce automation. Number three, automated approximately 70% of their regression suite. Number four, reduced their script design and maintenance effort by 60%. Number five, implemented test data creation process and generated test data via automation. Number six, reduced the execution cycle time by 75% through automation. Now, let's talk about Deloitte Quality Engineering Trends. The pace of new technology adoption, particularly the Internet of Things, blockchain, and AI, continues to drive dramatic changes in software development. But IT product leaders, eager to capitalize on these new technologies, face a slew of quality delivery challenges. Rolling out new solutions quickly in this environment requires advanced upskilling, tighter coordination within and among teams, and a firm grip on the latest tools and methods available to the quality engineering function. To capture the current mindset and their quality engineering approach, Deloitte conducted a survey with over 200 senior executives within IT leadership roles across industries. We asked them what's top of mind for their current quality engineering practice, the trends they are excited about, investment they are making, and the challenges they are facing. Our quality engineering trends report explores the top concerns, considerations, and opportunities identified by survey respondents and provides practical takeaways for making the most of these trends. Our perspectives are divided into these 10 areas. Top priority includes scaling intelligent automation, perfecting continuous testing, securing the enterprise, and cloud-based testing. These trends will drive the delivery of quality engineering services for foreseeable future. At Deloitte, we are fully prepared to help our clients with quality engineering needs, and our alliance with Micro Focus provides a great partnership to use the right tool sets for our client needs. Now, I'll hand over to my colleague Mitch, who's going to talk about our alliance with Micro Focus.
Hello, I'm Mitch Hall with Deloitte Consulting and our Ecosystems Alliances team. I'd like to discuss with you a little bit about our relationship and work we have with Micro Focus. First of all, with Ecosystem Alliances, we work with the industry-leading technology firms, working with them to leverage their technology and along with Deloitte's services and innovation, deliver better business solutions and outcomes for clients. In the strategic collaboration, we want to go beyond the technology to shape the solutions in the markets of tomorrow. With Micro Focus, we've worked particularly in 3 areas around building repeatable, measurable solutions around quality engineering and testing, as you've heard earlier, including a whole suite of testing accelerators for the application development and management portfolio from Micro Focus for the whole life cycle for DevOps, planning, development, execution, testing, and automation, and operations. And specifically for SAP, given it's such a large market and Deloitte is the global leader in SAP, helping clients transform their SAP environment or new greenfield SAP deployments on S4, we built a set of testing accelerators built on the ADM ALM portfolio around UFT and LoadRunner to improve the quality and delivery of the projects in a more lower cost and more effective with better outcomes. And then thirdly, around cybersecurity, we've worked with Micro Focus's tools around application security, data encryption, data security, and security operations. And specifically around the ADM portfolio from Micro Focus, we work with the whole suite from Quality Center, Octane, UFT, the new capabilities around UFT, LoadRunner, and others, from Agile and DevOps model, now extending more with ALM Octane, also with a combined sort of hybrid Agile approach, leveraging the tools, the Micro Focus tools, through testing automation, with UFT, and then with service virtualization and mobile testing, through performance testing, and then operations with LoadRunner and regression testing. And as you can see, we've developed a complete set of assets and accelerators that are reusable for clients, all the way from test strategy and approach to planning, execution, and then operations. And some of the cases here, along with integration with tools from SAP, Tableau, ROI accelerators, including the techniques around test strategy, testing, data management, managing the environments, and collaborating with the client our clients to better confirm the outcomes. So we look forward to working with you. And on this slide, you can see our leadership for quality engineering, leadership across the board, and also with the team here, Ali, Raf, Krishna, and myself. We look forward to working with you. So at this point, we'd like to open up for questions. Thank you very much.
All right, great. Thank you. Great presentation, gentlemen. And we do have some questions rolling in. So let me get the first one up here. And I'm going to direct this one to Ali. Ali, is there a minimum organization size that benefits from the Deloitte Micro Focus partnership services?
Can you hear me okay?
I can. Yep.
All right, excellent. So great question. Doesn't matter what the organization size is, right? I think the key aspect is what is the type of transformation that is intended. For example, a lot of organizations, as you saw on one of the slide, 56% of organizations today are thinking about some sort of digital transformation. So any and all organizations, regardless of size, are appropriate for these kinds of services.
Okay, super. Well, thanks to Bradford for that question. And then another one, you all talked about some of the benefits of using Deloitte Micro Focus rather than, handling, say, testing applications in-house. And the overall benefits look pretty clear. And in fact, Ashish from the audience, for example, commented that he was impressed by the zero post-production issues in one of the slides there. But maybe we can get into some of those specifics. So, Krishna, you talked in one of your case studies about uncovering 40,000 plus revenue leakage risks. I wonder if you could provide some examples of the types of things that you typically find.
So, can you hear me, Scott?
Yes, Krishna, go ahead.
So again, right. So when we look at it, the sooner the defects you found, that eventually it's like the cost is being reduced, right? So all we are trying to tell is kind of do the testing as soon as possible, so that you can identify all the issues upfront and fix accordingly and plan accordingly. So in short, the sooner you find the defect, the much savings you can make out of.
Okay, great. Thank you. This
And
next question,
maybe I'll just
oh
add,
yeah, go ahead.
if I may add something. This is Ali. So, totally agree with what Krishna was saying. That so the concept is shifting left to identify any of the uh, workflow scenarios, doing more testing rather than less, doing more with automation, right? Delivering faster test cycles. That is key to discovering issues early. A lot of times, what happens is that the quality engineering team is involved late in the game. So the different scenarios that should be tested, right? And the priority that should be placed on the scenarios, it may also not be the appropriate priority. Um, so thinking about prioritizing the types of testing you want to do, testing the most important items first, especially related to revenue, right? Doing deep testing as well as doing early testing are key areas. In addition, you heard a lot about automation. So having an automation first mindset allows you to do a lot more testing than if you do manual testing. So there are strategies that you would definitely want to combine to get to that point where there are revenue leakage risks that are being uncovered when there are scenario discussions, and those scenarios are then being appropriately tested throughout the whether that's an implementation or you're talking about operations. So identifying the right scenarios, applying automation, and then I'll reiterate that starting way early in the process so that the quality engineering team understands the functionality in addition to just the business me's understanding it. Those are all aspects that will help you achieve that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hey, this next question, Ali, maybe I'll send it to you first, but if you want to route it to someone else, that would be fine. But Nick is asking, how does AI escalate testing failures?
Or address testing failures, is that the question?
It could be, yeah. The phrasing there
Or
is escalate, but I think address seems like it would be appropriate too.
maybe even escalate, right? So if I understand the question appropriately, uh, today we have AI capabilities that we use every single day. So everybody who's using a smartphone is using AI capabilities. We have products today in testing that are able to look at customer comments, even on social media, for example, right? They're able to uh, look at the natural language and alert the product owner that there are issues that we're seeing in the product or there are enhancement opportunities. So certainly as an alert, if I understood the question appropriately, AI and machine learning can be used to do that. Several products are available for it. Um, and then also the key part of that is what do we do with that, right? So that's where I first thought the question was geared towards. So once you have these issues identified, using AI and ML capabilities where you're looking at different contexts, including social media. People may be talking about your product, saying that certain features don't work well. Then you incorporate those, bring them into a test management tool, a defect management tool, document them appropriately, and make them part of your backlog for addressing. So certainly taking a structured approach first to applying some of the new technology with AI and ML in identifying issues, and then using the appropriate tools to determine which ones will be addressed and in what order, I think are key aspects to that. Hopefully, I addressed the question, but if there's a follow-up, happy to answer that as well.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for any potential follow-ups on that one. Um, Here's another one. What stage should an organization think about bringing on partners in in this quality engineering partnership? Is it when an application is being, you know, conceived or built, or is it once it's pretty well scoped out, or at a testing stage, or some other time in the process?
Absolutely. I'll start, and Krishna, maybe you can chime in. My experience has been that if you wait to engage the quality engineering team until after, for example, let's say the design is done, then that definitely poses a challenge for not only the quality engineering team, but outcomes are generally not great because the testing team may not understand fully what should be tested. So I typically recommend certainly bringing the testing team on during the design phase, having them participate in those design sessions, maybe even at the requirements phase, so that the requirements are fully understood before design begins. But certainly, design is a good place because the quality engineering team can bring in the testing methodology thinking that is required to do testing effectively. They may not always be the business SMEs in understanding all the workflows, right? So involving them in design sessions certainly helps with that. The key being involve quality engineering as early as possible and treat it like any other discipline of your application development, right? Rather than as an afterthought. Krishna, anything you would add there?
And yeah, Ali, one more point to add is I echo with whatever you said, right? The only reason, other reason I would add or bring in QE people upfront, because sometimes based on experience, the people who work on they don't think about testing, right? So even we get an opportunity to put our point of view while requirements, just to make sure the things are all covered from a testing as well as from a uh, you know uh, coverage perspective, just to make sure everything is being documented.
Agreed. And
Okay.
I'll just add that, one of the things the microfocus tools, the test management tools does is keep track of requirements and traceability, right? So as requirements are documented in those tools, then you're able to tell whether test scenarios have been developed, test scripts have been developed. When you find defects later on, as testing goes on, what part of the requirements have defects associated with them, right? So you're able to trace all the way through the life cycle of the development as well as testing what product features or application features are impacted. So the traceability aspect is something that I've always seen the quality engineering team, as an example, tracking and providing insights as well. So another reason to make sure quality engineering team is involved from the requirements stage all the way through design, development, testing, and obviously deployment as well.
Okay, super. And I did want to jump back to the AI question for a second. Jason from Micro Focus wanted to chime in with some more context on that one. Jason, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, so I just wanted to chime in. In our Octane solution, in ALM Octane, we actually do exactly this with understanding the environment to be able to escalate some of the failures that occur. In our pipeline module, we learn from the different defects that are found within individual pipelines. And we start to learn from the behavior and identify them as testing problems, as opposed to more environmental problems, and learn from that so that they can be categorized effectively. We also start to learn from who's actually addressing different types of defects. So maybe it's a certain type of defect was fixed by one individual before. We'll recommend assigning a defect to that individual, or we may have visibility into who checked in code in a certain module. We believe that the defect originated from that code. We'll recommend assigning that defect to the appropriate person. And then finally, we have a construct called risky commits, where we actually start to identify different types of code changes that are made. Maybe there's a certain module within the code base that every single time we tweak it, something goes wrong. We'll flag that as a risky commit so that people are aware that there's a risky build that might be done and that there might be some challenges coming out of it. So we actually, we certainly try to escalate certain types of defects as we learn more about an application. But we actually also preempt that by trying to identify potential challenges before they pop up.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next question here comes from Bradford. He's asking, is Deloitte slash Micro Focus capable of examining all business operations and recommending an action plan, cost of implementation, time frame, and then which QE trend should be embraced, first or last, given that the cost might be the biggest hurdle? So maybe I'll direct that to Ollie first, and then if anybody else wants to chime in, that'd be great.
Yes, absolutely. Great question. So this definitely falls under QE advisory and transformation, right? The idea there would be to actually come in, assess the landscape, look at all the business operations, and develop a roadmap. So typically, that's the terminology we use, or the output from that exercise. So assess the current state, develop a roadmap, and that roadmap then has a detailed action plan. In addition, what you can also do, or we also do, is if you're interested, then develop the cost of the implementation. But that really is a separate step, because first what you want to do is digest all of the current state information and agree that that's where your organization stands. Also agree that the roadmap makes sense, right? The roadmap would contain different initiatives at a high level, and then a detailed action plan on how those initiatives can be implemented. So any and all of those initiatives then obviously can be costed out. The roadmap includes the time frame. And the other part of the question is about the QE trends, right? It again depends on the maturity of the organization. Certainly, you would want to adopt some of the leading edge practices, but it definitely depends on the maturity of the organization. Short answer or summarized answer would be yes to all of the questions that have been asked by, looks like Bradford here. All of that can be done, but I would recommend a structured approach, starting with an assessment, a roadmap, detailed initiatives that can be done on those roadmaps, because it really depends on where the organization stands. Krishna, anything you would add?
No, I think you said you covered everything.
Yeah, and just
Yeah, go ahead.
a little.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add a little bit to that. Is within our Micro Focus, our PPM solution, We actually have this capability built into that solution. It's called a what if analysis, where if we change our mind, do things a little bit differently, what are the projected results of that change of scenario? So it's already built into our PPM solution. We're actually going to be releasing something in February that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but it's going to extend on that substantially. So a really exciting product announcement that we have coming up.
All right, you heard it here first, February. Keep an eye on Micro Focus. Next question. Well, actually, I did want to follow up on that too. Do clients typically engage with Deloitte about application testing only, in quality engineering, or is it often part of a complete application development engagement? Ali, I guess I'll direct that to you.
Yeah, the answer is, all of the above. It depends on where the organization is, what kind of help they need, right? So some organizations, as an example, have testing capability already, right? And what I'm thinking there is a testing organization, just like the development or the configuration resources, and provides that testing as a service. The other way it might happen is that those testers live within each of the teams or within each of the application teams. And it really just depends on what kind of help they need. And we come in and respond to that request and provide services accordingly.
Okay, super. And Nick commented that Jason, your follow-up was helpful in the AI escalation component, and says thanks. And he also had another question that's probably also a Jason question. Do the tools help in providing easy-to-follow documentation of test results by deployment for the auditors?
The answer is absolutely yes.
Yeah, yeah. Go for it.
No, go for it, Jason. I think.
Yeah, no, I think, from an auditing standpoint, right, traceability is incredibly important to be able to trace, requirements to test cases or user stories to acceptance criteria to test cases, down through results, right? And then to, a test case result to a defect fix all the way through. That's imperative for a lot of especially in like pharmaceuticals, insurance, life sciences, financial institutions. There's a lot of regulations there that have to be followed. And absolutely, at Micro Focus, our solutions provide support for that. And I'm sure, Ali, the Deloitte team is well versed in working in those environments as well.
That's right. And I'll just add that one of the reasons for using these tools is because you have a record of everything, right? From even if, let's say, you run a test case 5 times for whatever reason, each of those runs is saved in these tools, and auditors are able to go and view that. So one of the things that I do generally when the audit team comes around, they will ask questions like, what are all your test scripts? Where are they located? How many times have you run those? Or how many cycles, let's say, if you're in the waterfall methodology, how many cycles have been completed? And if you're thinking of Agile and DevOps, what are the different sprints that have been completed? What's the testing associated with that? And then at the end of the day, have defects been addressed? Certainly those that are high in priority or severity, in mediums. If you're going live, can look at are all the highs, mediums addressed, and do we have an action plan for lows? So, bottom line is that one of the key advantages of using these test management tools is that you have everything documented, time stamped, and you also know who did what. So the history is there as well.
Okay, great. Next question comes from Nishant, and it's a rip from the headlines kind of question, wondering how QE can help in scenarios like where AWS went down yesterday.
Yeah, I'll start, and maybe Krishna, you can chime in. I think it all. So there's a piece of chaos engineering, right? That is part of our intelligent QE services at Deloitte, and that is all about testing out scenarios um, that are unexpected, right? So developing those scripts that are associated with them and then running through them would definitely help. Now, a service going down, I would hope that the organization has some sort of a plan associated with it, right? A big service like AWS would affect, essentially, might affect your connectivity and operations as well. So certainly need to think through, does that mean that we're dead in the water, right? Or is it something that is associated with the way we are using that service, or something happened inside the organization versus with AWS? So again, it comes down to, in my view, just thinking outside the box a little bit, practicing some of the chaos engineering concepts, and testing for those unexpected scenarios. And, I'll add a little bit also that generally in testing, we see folks just doing the workflow testing and not adding negative test scenarios, for example. So thinking about all these additional testing items, so chaos engineering related, negative testing scenarios, those are things that would help.
Sorry, one thing to add to, right, the way you said, right, in the other client, we used to call it as disaster recovery testing, right? So we want to make sure what is our plan of action in those kind of scenarios, and just to make sure you build those scenarios, execute those scenarios, so that you have plan in action. If something goes wrong, what is your plan in action?
Okay,
Great point.
great. Thank you. Um, Next question comes from Ashish, who's asking, does your solution provide scrambled HIPAA-compliant PHI, PII demographic dummy data resembling actual patients?
Yes, so that is a key item whenever we do testing at Deloitte. We recommend using realistic data. So there are two ways you could go about it. You could actually manufacture the data, um, even large volumes of data, by using automation tools. The other way many clients do this is look at a certain period's worth of production data and then mask it. So typically, one of my clients right now, they have taken a year's worth of production clinical data and revenue cycle data at a healthcare client, and they've masked it. So certainly, those are fundamental testing um, capabilities, and we definitely recommend using appropriate data, definitely masked data. You don't want production data just sitting in your test environments, because that's a recipe for disaster. You could have an incident, and that damages the reputation of the organization. Anything else, Krishna? Anything from your experience?
No, I think you pretty much covered. As you said, we recommend always to mask the data and use it as needed, as well as generate
Yeah.
it using automation based on the client needs.
Yep.
And it, just if I
Okay.
might chime in real quick, I think traditionally, right, we use test data management solutions to be able to do the data obfuscation. I can never say that word correctly. Data masking and all that stuff when we're trying to use production data in testing. Um, it, you know, I think that it's become a little bit of a common practice. The only thing that I would kind of just try to help the audience recognize is that just keep in mind that even if the data is protected, at some point in testing, that data will be entered into an application, and someone's going to take a screenshot of a bug that you found and record that somewhere. So and so it's always kind of recommended, even though we're developing a lot of techniques to protect that data and all that kind of stuff. It still recommend not using production data in testing efforts, just because of those circumstances that can occur where someone just decides to do a screen share when they find a bug, and you get in a little bit of trouble.
Okay. Great. Well, it looks like we're running out of time. So I guess I'll put this in two directions. First, maybe to Jason, if somebody wanted to get started with Micro Focus, we do have that Get Started with Micro Focus handout, but any tips from your side or any closing thoughts there, and then I'll go to Ali just about the partnership. But Jason, let me turn it over to you first.
Yeah, I'd say we've done a significant amount of investment in our solutions over the last couple of years, with really some forward industry leading constructs. Right, I talked about Octane and the AI analytics that we have built into it. We also have an AI capability built into our functional testing set that significantly reduces the amount of time that it takes to develop and maintain scripts. So, we're here to help out. Deloitte are really valued partners with us, right? I think that the response about the chaos engineering when AWS crashes and being prepared for that, that's a level of expertise that Deloitte really brings to the table. I think we all get caught up in our day jobs, during work, and testers do too, right? But when you're bringing in someone with the expertise of a Deloitte to come in and provide some of your quality services, that's some of the outside the box thinking that it takes to guarantee applications that are going to be highly available. So really appreciate the opportunity to talk with everyone.
Great, thank you. And Ali, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I will. Just reading through some of the questions and comments, looks like some folks had trouble hearing parts of the presentation. And then also looking at the questions, we didn't answer some of them just because we're at time. Happy to address additional questions. And for those who didn't hear parts of the presentation, I would recommend looking at the slides and reaching out. My information is there, Krishna's information, as well as Mitch, along with other leaders at Deloitte, is indicated there. But happy to take questions over or answer questions over email.
Excellent, great. Well, thanks everybody for being on. That was a great discussion. I appreciate your patience there to get through as many questions here as we could. Really informative session. And before we wrap up, I do want to go through one more piece of business. This is the $300 Amazon gift card prize drawing, and the winner of that gift card is Vince Ciccone from California. So congratulations to Vince. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of Actual Tech Media, I want to thank everybody on the call here for putting together, this presentation and for all their insights in the Q&A. And of course, want to thank Deloitte and Micro Focus for making this event possible. And last but not least, I'd like to thank all of you for attending and for the many, many great questions today. So that concludes today's event. Have a great rest of your day.